Good morning, welcome to Morning Outlook. This is Kim speaking on Friday the 12th of January. So looking at the euro dollar first, and well, you've seen a quite a solid move up yesterday after an attempt the previous day and a failure, and then yesterday it moved up on solid news that the ECB were looking to unwind their financial easing sooner probably rather than later, maybe starting 2018. Why Draghi didn't say this at the last meeting, God knows. But there you go. So this is an unusual one that the minutes actually surprised the market, and it certainly did. And we've seen a decent follow through so far this morning, heading up towards that sort of just short of 121. That's a sort of line in the sand. It may well now see traders looking to see if it'll push it, because we've already had the sort of two and a half attempts near it. Recently there's a couple of attempts there and one previous line. It'll be interesting to see if it pushes through into that monthly R1. Now of course on some it will certainly, if it gets back up towards the double top there and even into the 121 area, there will be arguably some divergence, but it's mostly worked itself off in my book, so it gives it the green light to continue. And if you look at other readings such as the MACD may just give us a little bit of divergence around that area, we'll see, but certainly the RSI's mostly worked off. But that said, it wouldn't be a massive surprise you see some selling immediately coming towards that level, towards those levels, as there's profit taking into previous highs. Okay, anyway, so for the day, well, we have got the daily pivot below us, but it may be a slow one though. In terms of any retracements back to that, that's right the way back down here at around about 120. So that's 70 odd pips away. The probability of it being hit today is pretty lean at the moment. Bearing in mind we're almost up to the R1. So and that R1 all ties up quite nicely with prior highs almost, so a reasonable target at the moment maybe. So a bit more continuation is possibly there. One thing on the hourlies, there is definitely, or has definitely been a bit of a divergence across these hourlies, and we're seeing a sort of like a double divergence at the moment, but there's a bit of hidden divergence in the middle of all this, or perhaps not actually. Maybe not. There was hidden divergence yesterday, but in the short time frames, but not here. Sorry, that's fine. So there's a bit of double divergence kicking in just as I'm speaking, but we'll see. That could just carry on pushing up now. The momentum certainly behind it. Looking at the pound, daily perspective first, and held up pretty well. It sort of air kissed its monthly pivot. I was looking for that as a target yesterday, just came short of that in the end, but pushed back up there on the coattails of the euro by the looks of things, softening dollar, and it's just in this quite rangy movement. It may just be have the potential to push back up towards its R1. It may follow the euro this morning. It's not really sort of apart from that shot there on the yesterday afternoon there, it was looking a bit sort of a laggard if anything, and it's still got obviously the potential for surprises from Brexit, but and Brexit comments. But at the moment it's pushing up pretty well in the shorter time frame, intermediate time frame here. It didn't diverge into the highs. It could run up towards its R1 as it's pushing up today at the moment. So maybe a target back towards those prior highs, the R1. Although there's not a lot of meat on that at the moment. Dollar yen. Now it's had a decent run down. Likewise, actually caught the bug the day before. Yesterday was barely any real significant movement there relative to the euro, but it's back to the body as those prior lows there yesterday. It's sticking a little bit where it is at the moment. may have some more strength. I was looking at different indicators here. It's got a bit of RSI divergence sitting across these lows here. Would I want to be buying into it? Well, it's a possibility at some point, but may just need a bit more confirmation. This rise is quite slow. What I'm looking at is just running into its daily pivot now. It may just run through that a little bit, but into the 50 or something like that. It may actually be a better short if it does stall into that, or be best waiting for the break of the lows effectively. It may be a safer move, because it may just pitch on. We'll see, but there's certainly a divergence on that yen. The risk, of course, is if the likes the euro and the pound are pushing up, well, there's a good chance the yen might recover and sell off, of course. So if you're looking at the long side of it, Aussie dollar, well, had a good shove yesterday. It is certainly diverging on this daily basis. Taking out the prior highs there, looking like it could want that monthly R1. Still got a monthly pivot. It's one of the few that hasn't run into its monthly pivot yet, but as I said yesterday and quite a few times, the commodities have seemed to be helping it quite well. 4Al is really just showing a sort of continuation to the upside, but however, it's put that shooting star in. It's looking a bit iffy at the moment, and you come down to this owl as well. Maybe we're seeing that the more confirmation from that sort of divergence on the dailies, and it may be just starting to roll a little bit. Where to today? Well, the thing is, because it's been pushing up pretty sound, it's got plenty of support. We've got the 50 not that far below, maybe the daily R1 there, sorry, S1. But if it can start breaking through the 50, well, I'd be really targeting towards that 200. But as I said, it's an iffy one when it's it's been so solid up until now. But it's going to break at some time. But when? Canadian dollar. Canadian dollar, well, it had a decent reaction yesterday. Eventually, as you moved off its daily 100, it's had a bit of divergence into that level, but aside of that, it's really still looking like it could be pushing to the higher side. Sorry, I just need to check. Oil's been holding quite well, but did see a bit of softening at one point yesterday. Yeah, it softened off yesterday. It did roll over in the afternoon a bit more, and late evening there it's rolled over a little bit more. So okay, that's probably helping this softening continue, and the Canadian dollar pushing up against the US dollar pushing up against the Canadian dollar. So at the moment, well, it looks like there's a potential, the continuation of this current move. Where to, looking at well, the R1 maybe towards yesterday's highs. I'd probably, if I was looking on the long side, would probably looking at the tops of those bodies. It'd be a bit more safer, and I should imagine that's where the profit will start to be taken. Okay, that's pretty much it. News-wise today, there are two sort of key stories. There's the US inflation data coming out at 1:30 this afternoon, and then core retail sales exactly same time. So inflation is been such a laggard for so long. Any pickup on that may create a bit of dollar buying. Likewise, if it's weak again, we could see selling. But of course, we've got retail sales, which may just mess the story up a little bit. But it really is that inflation figure people are looking for. Right, have a great one. Bye for now.